Good morning, everyone. Grateful as always to be with you today. I want to discuss with you this afternoon, a topic that has been discussed throughout the course of this past week with some good friends of mine in the business, where they've been having some struggles. And it's an area that many people have come across in their own businesses if they're working it right. Have you found, as you're building your business, if you ask for referrals, that you struggle to get them? Have you found that? Have you experienced that? We talk about it, don't we? For me, one of the best ways to build my contact list, one of the best ways to connect with new people is through referrals. It's a powerful way to continue to build a warm list. Yeah, and it's proven through national surveys and studies that the vast majority of new business across all businesses comes from referrals. 35% comes from cold market. In a conventional business, all the rest comes from referrals. That's a lot, that, isn't it? That's a lot. So with all of that money that conventional businesses spend in advertising and trying to reach out to all this new cold audience, their greatest strength is through word of mouth recommendation from existing customers. The same applies to us. We can go to great lengths, can't we? Trying to connect with new people, find new people, maybe set up ad campaigns and do some Facebook advertising or search engine optimization on some of our websites that we've got set up, and do all sorts of clever things. But the greatest method, of course, will often reside in that word of mouth recommendation. But we struggle with it. We don't get the result that we ask or that we desire. I want to talk about why that is the case and what we can do about it. There's a number of reasons that fall into it. And I'm going to be really candid. Why is it that someone that loves our products has maybe just had a great experience with some of our products that we've given them, or that they're using as a new customer? Why is it that if they've had such a great experience, why is it that they would not recommend any of their friends or family to us? Well, in short, because they don't want to. Right? Yeah, let's call a spade a spade. They don't want to. So why don't they want to? Why? They've had a great experience. Why would they not want to? Well, let's break this down. There's a couple of reasons. We're getting them outside of their comfort zone, aren't we? We're asking them to go from having a great relationship with us to risking the relationships that they have with others, where they're asking something of them. There is now risk in that action that you're inviting them to take. And as a consequence of that risk, there is fear of loss, there is fear of failure, and there is worry around that. Yeah, much like many of us feel when we're doing our business building ourselves. Yeah, what we're doing is we're transferring that worry from our hearts and minds over to them and saying, you ask. And that can be worrisome for them. And as a consequence, even though they've had a great product experience, they're not necessarily instinctively salespeople. They don't necessarily have that natural drive or desire, even if it's good, to share it with someone else. And although we can say, but if you've been to a great restaurant, wouldn't you naturally share it with someone else and say, I went to this great restaurant, you should check it out? Or you just saw a great movie. So we naturally say, oh, I just saw this great film at the cinema. You should go see it. It was funny. It was hilarious. It was heartwarming. It made me cry. We say all of that. In reality, when it comes to sharing our products or our business opportunity, people don't instinctively have that same level of desire to share. We use that as a parallel, but it's not always the same feeling that comes with it. So we need to look at how we approach this a little differently. Now, what about if it's a business partner? So let's park that for just a second.
Okay.
Linda, you asking a question?
Oh, sorry about that.
No, okay, no worries. So we've got that as a scenario where they're a happy product using customer but they're not sharing our products or sharing referrals with us. We want them to, but they're not doing it. So we'll get to that in just a second, how we can help there. The next one is, what if I have a business partner who has joined the business and I'm working towards going to my next rank? I want to rank advance. Maybe I'm a silver wanting to get to gold. I'm a gold wanting to get to platinum. I'm a platinum wanting to get to diamond. And I've got a new business partner, or I've got 3 legs, they're working well, but I need that extra volume coming from a particular leg to really drive it forward. I'm trying to work with them, but they're not responding well. They're active, maybe they're participating a little bit, but they're not doing much. And each time I ask, and they're not really responsive. How do I help them move forwards if they're not doing it? I want to share a story that I heard from a good friend of mine, one of, in my opinions, one of the best network marketers in the United Kingdom I've ever worked with. He was a diamond from Amway. And in his heyday, in his strength, I've shared multiple stories from him because I learned so much from him. He was, in some degree, a mentor of mine, even though I was the general manager of Amway at the time. He was just so instructive in the way that he taught and what he shared. In his heyday, for context, when I say he was one of the best, when he'd put on his own team meetings, he would get between 30 and 40,000 people at his events 3 times a year. And this is in the United Kingdom. This is not in America, where you've got, you know, the all-American dream, right? I don't know of the great British dream that motivates entrepreneurship in the same way that it is inspired in somewhere like North America. In the UK, they're a little bit more pessimistic, a little bit more cynical, a little bit more critical, and our industry is nowhere near as big as it is in the US. It's a great size, but by no means a comparison. But he had an incredible team. He told me once of his journey getting to that lofty rank of diamond. He said he had 3 legs in his business, which you need. And he said, and he needed this 3rd leg just to work that little bit harder to get him to where he wanted to be so he could qualify as diamond. He wanted it so badly, he flew to America to meet in person with his sponsor so he could sit down with them and get the feedback. What am I doing? What do I need to do to get this 3rd leg working the way they should? I've tried everything and it's not happening for me. He sat down with his sponsor, he went through all the details, and his sponsor was really candid. And he said, Jerry, this guy is not the guy for you. He doesn't want it. You need to go out and build a new leg. Well, he was devastated. Build a new leg, right? He's like, this guy is not going to be the one. He's not going to build it. He said, you want it more than he does. And as a result of that, you're going to be wasting a lot of time and getting a lot of stress and having a lot of frustration because you're trying to get him to do something that you want more than he wants. And it's not going to happen. Go out and build a new leg. Well, that was tough counsel to hear because in principle, you can accept it. But in practice, we all know it's hard to build a new leg. Yeah. But he went back and he did it. He built a new leg. He became a diamond, and the rest is history. He was one that was great at asking his sponsor for direction. And when he got tough counsel, he was wonderful and humble constantly enough to follow the counsel and to do as he was instructed. And it always yielded fruit. Hence, he became as great as he was. He said there wasn't a part of the country. He named, I'm not sure if you know the council estates. Do they have council estates over here? They might call them by different names. Government-owned housing. You know, when people live in government-owned housing and they're in blocks and communities or neighborhoods and what have you. He said, there are only 2 neighborhoods in all of the United Kingdom that I haven't been to in building my business, where I've gotten out there and I've worked and I've gone to every neighborhood, you know, of government housing, He says, in reaching out with prospects and referrals and you name it, he says, I've traveled the country. He says, and people say, oh, you don't have to work for the rest of your life. He says, I've put a lifetime of work into my business so that I don't have to work the rest of my life. Yeah, he worked really hard to make that succeed. A great example. But I digress. But the point that I shared there is twofold. One, he wanted it more than the person wanted it themselves. And as a result, he was spending the wrong amount of time with the wrong people. And this is one of the challenges that we face, I think, if we're not talking to enough people in the first instance. If we're not talking to enough people in the first instance, then the pool of people we have to talk to is too small. And as a result, if there is someone in that pool that expresses interest, they become disproportionately important to us because we've got no one else to work with. So as they start to lose interest, or if they move in a different direction, if they don't show as much value or a sense of value in what we're offering and what we're doing, what do? We keep on trying to work with them. We keep on trying to persuade them, to convince them, to cajole them, to help them see the light so they can get on board with us and move forwards, because you're all I've got to work with. And therein lies the problem. We shouldn't have a scenario where we're working and we're thinking to ourselves, you're all I've got to work with, so you've got to succeed. We've got to be willing to let go if someone is not interested and go find other people. Yeah, we've got to do that. So we've got to be willing, just like my friend there who said, there's maybe 2 council estates, two neighborhoods of government housing in the entire country that I haven't visited. And he named them. It's this one and this one. Every other one I've visited, and I've driven up there and I've done presentations and I've shown the plan, and I've worked the business. He knew the country inside and out and back to front. The country. Now, the UK is smaller than the US or Canada geographically. You can get to know it pretty well. So my invitation to you first off is this. When you look at your contact list, when you look at the people you're working with in your business, are they the ones? Can you be humble enough and brave enough at the same time? Because true humility requires bravery and courage, doesn't it? To look at your list, to look at the people that you're working with, or those that you are wanting to succeed, but perhaps they are not doing the work. Are you brave enough to say, perhaps I need to find other people? Perhaps I need to go out there and add more people to my list. Perhaps I need to build new networks and get new contacts. This is really important. In large measure, it's a numbers game, this business. It's a relationship building game, 100%. It's all about building relationships and rapport and strengthening those relationships. And certainly referrals come as a consequence of that. But at the same time, statistics play a relevant and meaningful part. Yeah. And so the more we talk to people, the greater our chances are that we'll get the right people in front of us. But I have found it happen too many times that people do not have the right number of people in their pools to be working with. And as a consequence of that, the wrong people become disproportionately important to them. And they put too much time and effort and energy into the wrong people trying to grow their business. And then they wonder why they're not succeeding. Yeah. And then they go, this doesn't work. And then they go, I'm getting tired. And then they get frustrated. And then they want to step back. It's like, you're just working with the wrong people. Put all of that energy into getting new people in, and then sift from there, then filter. And how do you filter and how do you sift? It's really simple. You give people a responsibility. You ask them to do something. You invite them to make or keep a commitment. And when they keep it, you can see that they're serious. And when they're not, repeatedly not, I should emphasize, keeping their commitments, They clarify for you. I'm not the one. You asked me to build my contact list or to sit down together with you. I didn't keep my appointment. You asked me to read this book or to attend this event. I didn't come. I didn't do that. You asked me to get one of these starter packs, the good, better, best, the energy pack, the water pack, the sleep pack. I haven't done that. You asked me to reach out to set up some appointments for some ABCs. I've not done that either. They're letting you know I'm in your business, but I'm not really present. Yeah. But if that's the only person we sponsor, what do? We keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. Go sponsor new people. That's the solution. Go find new people. And that comes back to this principle now of referrals. Well, what happens then if, as a starting point, because we know that many people begin as customers and then become distributors. So let's say I've got a great customer and they're not wanting to share referrals with me. What on earth's going on there? Why aren't they doing that? They've got every great reason to share referrals because they've had nothing but a positive experience with the product. They know what good it can do for perhaps other members of the family that maybe even I know about. Yeah, because we're in the warm market together, we know each other. Yeah, but they're not sharing. Well, first of all, like I said, there is that fear of loss or damage to the relationship that a customer may experience if you're asking them to do something for you. See, the scenario there that you've got is, I want you to do something for me. When I put it that way, can you hear the difference? I want you to do something for me. What's in it for you? Nothing really. What's in it for me? Well, everything. I get a new customer. You get a thank you, a pat on the back, a job well done. Yeah. But there's risk on your end. There's no risk for me. So you take the risk, you get nothing in return. I don't take the risk and I get the reward. Cheers. What a great business plan that is. Yeah. So we need to shift that a little bit, don't we? We need to change our approach there. One thing that can help in doing this, in getting the referrals, is by sharing gifts. Sharing gifts. Is there something that you can share? Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting that you go out there and give away water bottles in exchange for referrals. That's an expensive strategy, isn't it, for doing that? But maybe there might be something that you can share that you have that is of value to them, that they can't get anywhere else, that makes them feel really good for getting it. Yeah. Perhaps it might be something like a book. It might be something like a brochure or a website. It might be a podcast or a video or a webinar invite where they can come and hear exclusive, very important information, and they can participate there and they can learn. I loved the recent event meeting that we had on the kickoff call with Dave Bolzer. He is always great to listen to, isn't he, Dave Bolzer? And what a great person to get in front of our customers. Yeah, so perhaps there is that extra little bit of something that we can give. And perhaps maybe there is something that you can do that doesn't even need to be Nikan specific. I learned this in the early days of my marketing career when I noticed that companies like Coca-Cola would offer little incentives on the sides of their cans where you could be in the draw to win a holiday. And I remember thinking, what's a holiday to Fiji, for example, got to do with Coca-Cola? Absolutely nothing, right? They're just appealing to what our desires, our interests, our wants. Yeah, that's what they're really doing there. So not everything that we have to offer needs to be something that is immediately relatable or transferable to Nikan. I'm looking at Christian Obey's photograph here on my screen, and I know that he is a great fitness instructor. He knows a lot about the human body and he can help people get in shape. Maybe there is something there that gets offered in exchange for some referrals. Hey, I've got some great service here, and If you want to introduce me, I can maybe do something good for them as well. And they can also get exposed to some of these great products. It becomes a win for them. Yeah, and it takes them so they're not just out of their comfort zone, but it gives them something that they're actually willing to do and wanting to do, because there is a benefit to the people that they're talking to. There's an upside for them and an upside for the people on their list, in their Rolodex, so to speak. Yeah. So I think that's something worthwhile considering. We need to, of course, continue to build the relationships, recognize as well that in building the relationships, building the rapport, what we need to focus on is ways that we can add value to that invitation. If we're asking for referrals, which we need to do, how can we add value to that invitation so that it is a win-win for the person that's going to go out there and give you referrals, and it's not a lose-win where they're putting themselves and their relationships at risk for the sake of your personal benefit. We've got to flip that around, haven't we? And find a way that they go, oh, I'm getting rewarded for doing this. And there is an upside here for the people that I talk to, because they can get this information, they can have this experience. I can get them having a positive opportunity here. It's a benefit for them, it's a benefit for me, and it's a benefit for you. When it's a win-win-win scenario, what happens? People act. If it's a win-lose, people don't. Yeah. So my two takeaways, my 2 points of emphasis today are, when we're asking for referrals, look for ways to make it a win-win-win scenario. What can we give so that the people can feel a benefit and a reward? Even though we go, surely the product is a benefit in and of itself. It is. But if they don't see it yet, if they're not asking for referrals yet, if they're not giving them to you yet, there is a reason. They don't want to. And they don't want to because it's uncomfortable. So we can remove that discomfort by giving them a benefit, a reward, something of value that makes them go, oh, I want to do that. And in fact, I'll give it to you 5 times over. Well, great. Now you've gone from a reluctant lead, yeah, to 5 referrals. Yeah, wow, this is great. Yeah. And those 5 referrals, if you're going to give them added value, added benefits, because you're the Christian obey of the group and you know how to give them some extra insights as to how they can utilize this product with their body, because you've got some extra health and fitness skills there that you can offer. Awesome. Yeah. Maybe there's some other way that you can add value. Look within yourself. We've got registered nurses here on the screen as well. What are some? We've got people with pictures of horses. Again, we've got a new pet pad, and we know how popular the pet pad was with horses too. Our magnets work with that environment, the equestrian world. We've got all of these great ways with great skills, lots of people with great talent. Find a way to connect your talent to your future customers so that it's a win-win-win. Yeah. And do it in a way that is not a pushy sales approach. I'm giving. This is a gift. And when we do that, we'll get an abundance of referrals coming back. There's a huge difference in that approach. And then, so that's key point number 1. Key point number 2 in building your business. If you're wanting to get to that next level and you got that one leg that you're trying to drive that volume through and it's not happening, perhaps you want it more than they do. Perhaps you don't have enough people in your own pool to work with, and as a consequence, the wrong people have become disproportionately important to you. And you're therefore spending more time with the wrong people, wondering why you're not getting better results. Yeah. What's the solution? Work with more people. Talk to more people. Get more people in your pool. Make sure that happens, and then sift and filter that group. And how do we sift and filter? By inviting people to make and keep commitments. And they will raise their own hand as to whether or not they are the right person or not. How? Because they will keep the commitment or they won't. It's as simple as that. And if you keep it in your mind as well, when I'm inviting people to do these things, Of course, you want to help them. And yes, you want to understand if they didn't keep a commitment for a legitimate reason. But if there is a pattern, if there is a cluster of behavior that repeatedly demonstrates they're not doing this in spite of offers for help, what you're starting to see now is this becomes self-evident. And you can have confidence that asking people to do things doesn't have to be a scary thing, because this is your deliberate filter. This is your business mechanism that you're using to identify who is best in my team for me to work with. I can't work with everyone in my group if I've got a lot of people that I'm bringing in. So I need to filter. You move, I move. You move, I move. You run, I run. And it works like that. So that's point number 2. Point number 2, let's get more people in our pool so that the wrong people don't become disproportionately important to us and we spend the wrong amount of time with the wrong people and then wonder why we're not getting the results we want. That's crazy. And then, you know, heaven forbid, we turn around and then we blame the business for not being good enough because we're not getting the results when we've spent our time badly. Shame on us. That's not how it works. Yeah. So let's get more people in our business. Let's bring them in. Let's build those pools. Let's build the relationships. Let's ask for referrals. Let's do that in a healthy way by making it win-win-win. Adding value, offering service, giving reasons for people to want to share. So it's not all risk on their side and all gain on yours. I promise you, if we apply these couple of principles in our lives and in our businesses, you'll see some change. You'll get some different results. Will it require work? Yes, it will. Because going out there and reaching out to new people, finding ways to add value, adding value versus just offering it, takes time, takes commitment, takes effort. But if you want to grow your business, get the results, this is what you're going to have to do. There's no two ways about it. Success comes as a result of these types of things. End of story. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been really, really good in helping you learn what to do to get to the next step, overcome some of those barriers with some very, very common network marketing mistakes. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.